today. It's been a lovely day here in, I say that a lot, don't I? And now I'm going a bit London. Hi guys, Richard here again at the watch bench, and in this video we're going to be looking at my Invicta Pro Diver. Specifically, we're going to be looking at the bezel because it's broken. I went swimming today. It's been a really hot day here in Pembrokeshire, and I went down to the beach, and what I do with my nice dive watch here is as I get in the water, I use the bezel to set the time so I can just know how long I've been in. And yeah, so the bezel's only supposed to turn one way, but as you can see here, if this is focusing, it turns that way and it turns that way, and that is not good. And the click that you would normally hear is not engaging. So something has gone awry there. And what we're going to do in this video is we're going to open up the bezel and have a look and fix this up, because despite the fact that it's decided to break on me after only about 3 months intermittent wear, I still love this watch, and so and I know a lot of you guys have got this watch, so let's get inside, see what's going wrong and fix it up. Let's get on with it. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is take off the strap, or the bracelet in this case, and you know, it's always a good idea to do that if you're going to be working on the watch. It keeps it out of the way. Make sure that you don't scratch it, because we are going to have to take a case back opening tool like this, and we're going to have to put it underneath one of the lugs here, probably one away from the stem, under there, and prise the bezel up, because it's a kind of snap-on fit. Now this is a gold-plated watch, so we really don't want to be putting quite hard stainless steel against that raw. So the first thing we're going to need to do here is to put some tape to protect the lug there. So I'm just going to do that and then come back to the shop. Okay, so we've got the tape in place. It's always good to protect stuff first, but before we try and prise the bezel off, we're going to have to remove the bezel insert and remove the retaining spring. If you try and prise the bezel off with the retaining spring still there, it's not going to work, because you're going to be forcing the bezel into the retaining spring, and you'll just end up bending the bezel. So first thing we're going to do is get a very sharp knife and just go round the bezel here. In fact, I'll do it now. What we just got to do here, just watching on camera here, be very careful, but you're going to have to, in fact, I just need to come around with my eyeglass here and do this properly, try and keep it in shot. Hang on, hopefully you've not got my head in the shot. I'm just going to come in, there we go. Okay, and we're just going to come round here. Now these bezels, they're only held in with this kind of, you know, quite sticky glue. It's not super sticky, it's just quite sticky. And there we go. So we can now insert, and you can kind of see here. Yeah, let's just zoom in a bit. There you go, and you can see the. Just try and focus on that. Okay, we're at the sort of limit of what the camera can do, but there's the quite sticky glue there, and we'll probably have to refresh that downstream when we're fitting it back. So let's just now go back to our normal magnification, and then the other thing you can see in here, just takes a pointer here, is you can see the retaining spring. Okay, so there are two springs on here. This is the retaining spring. Once we pop the bezel off, there's another spring in the back, and that gives the click, and it's that spring that is giving us the issue. But the first thing we're going to have to do is remove this retaining spring before we can pop the bezel off. So I'm just going to do that now. So just coming on in where we can see, and kind of getting behind it. There we go. Lift him up. Once we've lifted him up, we can get our fingers in there and just gently camera. There we go. And that is what the retaining spring looks like. Okay, so just put that to one side. Then we're going to just open this up here and come in with the you can already feel that the bezel is a little bit looser now. I'm just going to come under here like that and try and pop the bezel off. We've got it protected, so just give it a... It's quite stiff. Okay. And there we go. Et voila. Okay. And interesting. This is the spring that we find inside, and as you can see, actually, it has rusted a little. Okay, it's been in the seawater. It has rusted a little, and that's probably our issue, because it actually locates in the back here, and this is also rusted. Okay, there is in the case okay, super high focus enlargement on that hole, and as you can see there, just been clearing out the debris, and there's just the end of the spring that is sheared off there. So we're just going to retrieve that out, get an idea of the length of it and the depth of the hole, so that we can bend the spring back to effect a simple repair. Okay, and there is the offending little bit at the end of the spring, which I've now prized out of the hole. And just to give you an idea of how tiny that is, this is the end of my screwdriver, pretty small screwdriver as well. So yeah, we're not looking at something very, very big, which is of course why I guess with a little bit of corrosion, albeit quite quickly, it has snapped off. Interesting design feature. So just using the little vise that I've got on the bench here now, just to put a little kink in the spring here, and then we'll see how that fits in. Okay, as you can see, we've got the spring located back in the hole here, having cleared out the debris and the odd bit that was broken off, and that now comes around past the 9 o'clock position on the dial, so that when we bring it in under tension like that, it wants to push out like that, and that, as you try and move the bezel clockwise, the serrated teeth on the back of the bezel will not allow that to happen, and as you turn the bezel anti-clockwise, you'll get that tick, 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 nice little click. Okay, so it's a very simple design, but you know, clearly it's a dive watch, and the spring had corroded and snapped, and that's not an ideal situation. So anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to put the bezel back on, and then the retaining clip, the retaining spring, and then the bezel insert, and we should be good. So there we go, let's do that. Okay, so there is the retaining clip back in. You can see it's located properly, keeping the bezel nice and snug against the case. And a good way to do that is with a bit of pegwood like this. You just get it, place it over, and push it down snugly like that. And importantly, now we can see that if we try and turn the bezel clockwise, it won't go, but if we turn it anti-clockwise, it'll go, and you can hear the click there. So that is the bezel fixed. We just got to put the bezel insert back in. So just grab that, pop it on there, and the glue you'll still find is nice and tacky, and that will hold. So just give it a good press down. You could refresh the glue if you wanted to. That would be fine also. Okay, so there we have it. The bezel inner spring was broken. We opened it up. We discovered that it was broken, and we effected a simple repair, and the result of that is now that the watch is back as it should be. So there we are, all fixed up and back on its nice gold-plated bracelet. And actually the time on this watch is accurate, so I really must be heading to bed now. I hope this was useful. We started with a bezel that turned both ways, but now, as you can hear there, it clicks. I hope you can hear it clicks in one way, and it won't turn the other way, which is the proper operation for the bezel. In doing that, we discovered the simplicity of the design and perhaps also the vulnerability of the design. So if you've seen my video that way or that way on the review that I did of this watch when I first got it, we need now to temper a little bit of my enthusiasm for this watch with the knowledge that we now have about the vulnerability of the bezel. It is a dive watch. It should be able to survive a little bit of salt water in there. Okay, there we are then for tonight. I hope you like my videos. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope it's been useful, and please subscribe. I'm doing a lot of work here on the watch bench, and I tend to choose the interesting stuff for you guys to join me on, and there's a lot more exciting stuff planned. But for tonight, good night.